Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. I hope everyone is having a wonderful weekend. I just thought I'd do this little impromptu video. I hope it's a quick one. I just wanted to get my thoughts out on how great it is to see a AAA company actually taking feedback from the community, and how what Battlefield 6 is doing is kind of changing right before our very eyes, changing the way AAA video game developers interact with the community via X and Reddit and other things like that. But Battlefield 6 took it a step further with Battlefield Labs, I believe, having not just content creators but just the general community being able to get in and play. I actually applied to the Battlefield Labs initial alpha test. I got in for a couple of the multiplayer ones. I think I could only do one or two of them, but I was able to play, I think it was Iberian Offensive, whichever map that one is, for a few rounds of multiplayer, and it was freaking awesome. Even at the alpha test, I was like, yes, this game is going to be... I just felt like we were back to Battlefield 3. Back to my main point of the development cycle that has been shown to us by the developers at Ripple Effect, DICE, EA, and Criterion, I think, is the other one. And just the fact that they took big risks with labs. They knew that there was going to be leaks, even in one of the posts here that I'll put it up on the screen. Ripple Effect and Christian Bull, they knew it was going to be an issue, but they went ahead and did it anyways because they knew that they needed feedback from the community to make the best game possible. And I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make the best game possible for the community and not for themselves, which I think a lot of video game companies have been doing in the past little while here. With the whole woke development cycle that's been going on, and like video game companies just making it for the modern audience and for themselves pretty much, and their own egos and hubris took over. But with Ripple Effect and these guys, they went straight to the community and asked, what do we want? What do we want to see? And obviously they put some of their own spin on it as well. It's a fantastic game. I absolutely loved playing the beta and I cannot wait for the release date. But that's another thing that they're changing the game with, is the performance. So the fact that they chose to only make this game for next-gen consoles and PC, it didn't hold them back from optimizing things in the best way possible. And I love the fact that they're not just trying to stuff the game full of bullshit and making you have to run ray tracing and making you have to run these DLSS and other shit that I don't know too much about. I just know it takes up more GPU and CPU power, but they're trying to make it in the best way possible. In this most recent post from Battlefield Bulletin, again, I'll put it up on screen, Ripple Effect says Battlefield 6's PS5 Pro version runs at 2160p on fidelity mode, locked in at 60 FPS. That's crazy. Like, they're really focusing on getting people the highest possible performance in terms of frame rates, and they know the game looks great. I was playing on medium settings and low settings sometimes in the beta, and the game still looked fantastic. The fact that they're making it only for the next-gen consoles, they're focusing on performance, they're taking feedback from the community, directly from the community. Even with the whole spotting situation, the active spotting, they just changed that as well. So I'll put that up on the screen. Like, they just keep getting these W's by listening to the community. Again, up here it says, Ripple Effect has made some considerable changes to the auto-spotting system in Battlefield 6 by reducing both the range and its duration in the open beta. And I quote, "We found out a lot in open beta that it was obviously very strong, just like players said." Again, listening to the players. Really? Players ended up just shooting Doritos. Light environments, dark environments, they were just like, hey, aim at the Dorito, you're gonna hit something at the end of the day. Which was very true, and I did find that the spotting in the open beta was way too crazy. And again, this is just an example of them listening to the community and making the changes like real time. And I think this is going to change the game of the development cycle going forward with other companies, because you can even see right now with Treyarch and Activision, them coming out and doing their cringy little sit down and answering questions. I watched a little bit of it, couldn't get through all of it. What they're doing is just terrible. They're backpedaling on so much stuff that they said with the bringing skins over. They've already changing the skins to make it look more grounded. You can see that Battlefield 6 is already making Call of Duty have to shift their direction and become better. But video's going on too long. I wanted to make this a short one. Tell me what you think down in the comments below. Is Battlefield changing the way that these AAA companies will develop games in the future? Like, not really worrying about leaks too much, to the point of like story things and like that. Like, multiplayer leaking is whatever, big deal. You're not spoiling anything really in terms of like campaign or story. But I think this is a big way that, especially with Battlefield Battle Royale coming out, I want to see how they take feedback from the community in that as well. But leave it down in the comments what you think, and if you think that this is going to change the way developers do things in the future. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the content and learned something and got a little bit of information from it today. That being said, adios muchachos, La Sombra out.